But right now we move to the first panel discussion of the day after the exclusive conversation. This is going to be a panel discussion on the topic Hyderabad's commercial boom, powering India's IT and corporate hubs. I repeat the topic for everybody over here. The topic that we are set to discuss and deliberate right now is Hyderabad's commercial boom, powering India's IT and corporate hubs. I'm going to be introducing our honorable moderator first, and then I'm going to be introducing our speakers in alphabetical order, and then I'll request all of them to join me on stage together, please. My moderator over here has over 28 years of experience in the real estate consulting and valuation services industry and is the first REIT valuer in India. He's advised on many large-scale real estate and alternate asset investments across the country and is considered a leading expert on valuations. Ladies and gentlemen, he's also worked consistently with a diverse set of clients, including major funds, banks, and financial institutions, and provides tactical and strategic advisory and valuation solutions to all his clients. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Vamshi Nakirekanti, Senior Executive Director and Head, Valuation Services India, Head Consulting and Valuations, Southeast Asia, CBRE. Sir, I hope I got the pronunciation right. Bahut bahut shukriya. I'll request you to take your seat. Please clap it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Vamshi over here. Thank you. I'll request all my speakers as well to please take their seats as per the photo order over here. My next speaker over here, ladies and gentlemen, a thoughtful leader and experienced professional with wide exposure in areas of administration, facilities, physical security and infrastructure. He has over 2 decades of experience as a defense service officer and over a decade of experience in the corporate sector. He has been a catalyst in several path-breaking initiatives in areas like transition of business to disease, safety, sustainability, and security. He is an active member of various industry bodies like BCIC, ASIS, OSAC, and AmCham. I believe AMCHAM. Ladies and gentlemen, please, everybody clap it up loudly for Lieutenant Colonel Ramesh Menon, Director, Guard Corporation Private Limited. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Pardon me if any pronunciation went wrong. Thank you, sir. Very kind of you to join us over here. Please clap it up for Lieutenant Colonel Ramesh Menon, please, everybody. My next speaker over here intertwines strategic oversight with innovative real estate solutions, harnessing his expertise in real estate and real estate development. He steers the Tenant advisory group towards creating tailored approaches that resonate with occupiers and investors all over the country. He has cultivated a deep understanding of market dynamics, coupled with strong competencies in sales and marketing, and of course he has consistently generated new business while optimizing asset value for his clients. Ladies and gentlemen, please clap it up for Venkatesh J, Director, Tenant Representation, Cushman and Wakefield. He seems to be quite popular and loved over here. Everybody who whistled and did that hoot, can you all repeat that for sir, please, everybody? Yes. Thank you, sir. Easily the most popular one over here. My next speaker over here, ladies and gentlemen, leads the city's business operations across IT parks and data centers. He has extensive experience across institutional real estate, corporate leasing, residential developments, data centers, industrial parks, and premium lifestyle assets. He leads end-to-end business strategy and execution, including project management, product development, marketing and sales, portfolio management, commercial leasing, operations, and P&L management. Basically, you say it all, you name it all, he does it all. Ladies and gentlemen, he's absolutely well-versed in international management practices and is very, very well recognized for leading cross-cultural teams and driving projects to successful completion, something which is very important in real estate space. Give it up for Vivek, VK, Vice President and Head, Hyderabad Operations, CapitaLand Investment India. Thank you so much, Vivek ji, for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, can't get better than this. Can I request all of you, people at the back, people at the front, to clap it up loudly for this incredible panel, the first panel discussion, the first set of panelists for the first panel discussion of the third Realty Plus Conclave and Excellence Awards 2026.
Shubhajit, he's doing a great job. Big round of applause for him also.
Thank you.
So great, thank you, distinguished guests, my fellow panelists and colleagues and team members who work with me across different organizations. Thank you for being here at the Realty Plus Conclave and Excellence Awards 2026 Hyderabad. Today we're talking about the commercial boom, IT and corporate hub. Sorry, the name keeps moving around, but that's what we are here to talk about. I'm thankful to Sapna and Tripti for having me here in Hyderabad. I mostly do this in Bombay. I feel very happy doing this in Hyderabad. This is my hometown, and I feel very proud about where Hyderabad has come from when I started working to now. Yeah, and it's a long while. So I think Hyderabad has moved. We were just discussing in the speaker lounge just now on what has changed, and was it always this as a city in terms of where it stands, or did it start off as a more back-end office market, or how did it evolve into what it is today? So we have three themes today that we will cover in the next 30 minutes. One is around why Hyderabad, from a larger India context, why Hyderabad, what sets Hyderabad apart. The second theme that we will focus on is how is the demand evolving, right? We've seen, there's talk about, previous panel spoke about a lot of supply coming up, right? So we'll talk about what are occupiers thinking, how are the assets looking, and what are the operating models and how they are changing. And the last one is around what's next, right? It's come to a stage where it can stand on its own feet, demand its claim in the hall of IT fame or corporate technology and IT fame. But where next for Hyderabad? So that on that note, thank you so much. I just invite all of you. Vivek, I'll bring you in on this conversation first, right? So you are a global investor, developer, and you have a lot of markets that you have looked at even in India. How do you look at Hyderabad? What makes this city work from an institutional developer, national developer, institutional capital perspective?
So I'm saying number speaks for itself. Venkatesh, if I'm not wrong, 12 million gross?
12.5 million gross.
More than a crore.
Half a million here or there, depending on who is producing the report.
Yeah. And the net leasing is also close to 1 CR. Around 9 point some million is the... So the number speaks for themselves. That's the best part. Anyone need not to now talk about Hyderabad. Why Hyderabad? The numbers are very, very good. They have been increasing year on year. And the projection is that the numbers will be even better next year. So now why Hyderabad? Frankly, why we are in Hyderabad as an organization and as professionals. If I'll say from the IT space, like we talk about hardware and software, let me define in two different ways. One is hardware, Hyderabad has at heart, and the another as mindware or the bodyware. The supply in Hyderabad is not that high in the micro markets where we operate. Let me put it this way. Another aspect is the demand is very stable. It's a very stable demand. It's very robust. Hyderabad from commercial real estate market perspective is matured. Irrespective of the change in governments, irrespective of the change in officers, it's in auto mode. That's the hard work which all of the real estate professionals in Hyderabad has done. And that's why people who are like me, who are not from Hyderabad, you're lucky that you are from Hyderabad, Vamshi. But I can also call it Hyderabad my home now, after spending 6 years in the city.
More the merrier.
One thing which Hyderabad is distinctive is infrastructure. In other cities, the buildings comes up early and then the infrastructure comes. But the best part about Hyderabad is infrastructure comes first. Infrastructure has never been a problem in this city. That's the best part about the city. The second is weather is also conducive most of the year. But the most important element which is unique about Hyderabad is people of Hyderabad. People of Hyderabad are its heart. They never make people like me who have come from outside, from somewhere else, say somewhere around 1800 kilometers away, they never let us feel that we are from somewhere outside. That's the beauty about Hyderabad and that kind of hospitality. I was kidding with my sons the other day that H for Hyderabad, H for hospitality, when we shifted to Hyderabad as a family. And now after 6 years, they're saying it was the right decision. They're loving the city. Another element which is really nice about Hyderabad is the government machinery. after experiencing multiple states in the provinces in India, the comfort which this government gives, at any, I even take a liberty to call sometime late in the evening or late in the nights, they are receptive. It's in some of the states it's difficult to get the appointments, but it has never been an issue in Hyderabad. The compounding factor of all this is that Hyderabad now has close to 120 million of grade A supply, which took around 28 years. If I start a journey from 1998 when I was in my school, I would say, but in the last 28 years it took for around 100 million plus. But if the scale continues, I'll not be surprised if another 100 million comes in less than a decade. So that's the beauty about Hyderabad, Vamshi.
Yeah. You said there's not much space available in the markets you operate, but which are the new micro markets that stand out for next leg of growth? I had a follow-on question. I'll come to that. The panelists, they're patiently waiting.
You want me to answer?
Yes, yeah.
Hyderabad has a funny thing. Everything is around Western Corridor. So I call it core CBD, primary CBD, secondary CBD, tertiary CBD. But everything is developing on the Western Corridor. That's a bit unique about Hyderabad. I think Hyderabad is the only city in India per se which has growth concentrated in one Western Corridor. But the best part is here the West goes because it's not next to the sea, the city where Vamshi frequents a lot, Bombay. Unlike there, the land is across the city. So that's the best part about our city. We, for example, are concentrated in the area where the demand is. Frankly, I'm a selfish business person. Where the demand is, I'll go there. I have to be there. That's how we operate in our scheme of things. But we see that Hyderabad is now extending towards further west. What I would say is the new markets like Neopolis is also coming up. Kokapet, Gachibowli has been there for long. So one thing is, which is really good about Hyderabad is, even if his asset is in the tertiary CBD, if I take Raidurg as a nerve center, the transactions are happening there, demand is there. So irrespective where the location of the project is, as the project is good, it ticks the boxes of amenities, ESG and the other elements. There is demand for that project, which was not the case earlier. We have seen where the Hyderabad as a city was branded as a very high vacancy rates not because of the high-tech city, but because of the other peripheral markets. That is slowly dipping. That is a good part to see. So we see with the government efforts, the lookist policy may come. Then the city can be decentralized. But for now, for the foreseeable future, the high-tech city and the Western corridors appears to us as the continued growth market for the city.
Perfect. I think I know I'm not following order. I'll bring Lieutenant Colonel, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Ramesh Menonji. Vivek spoke about infrastructure, Vivek spoke about connectivity, and I think this is the only city where I can time myself to the airport. That's a side note, but in India, right? But in terms of these large campuses and SEZs requiring strong physical, operational and security infrastructure, this has been a problem across different markets on how these buildings evolve and develop. How has Hyderabad evolved on this front? I think it's good to talk about the real estate, not in terms of square footage, but in terms of the quality of real estate. So what's your view on that? Has Hyderabad, and also the second question is around, are there any infrastructure gaps that can constrain this growth? I know I'm asking a wrong question in a wrong city where infrastructure is fantastic, but I still want to ask the question because you need to be mindful. Yeah.
Okay. So let me answer it this way. Firstly, I'm going to talk more about the IT industry because that has been the big growth accelerator for Hyderabad. And as we speak today, also the largest absorption is happening in the IT space. Pharma is also coming up in a big way here. So for these industries, the most important thing is business continuity. So I would say that from a business continuity management framework, if you really analyze how Hyderabad is, placed, what are the key things that a client would look at when they come and plan to set up operations here? Firstly, of course, the region itself, how it is, how stable the region is in terms of seismic zone, in terms of any kind of climatic impact, or whether it's a coastal belt where you've got any other kind of risks. So all those things work in favor of Hyderabad. Relatively, compared to a lot of other regions, you would find that it's a very stable region. The other thing is resilience of the infrastructure, which is very, very important. And again, we have seen that Hyderabad has been not only, today, way back also when the, typical IT, boom started. So one of the states that was there and one of the visionaries, who really catapulted, the IT industry to a global stage has been our own Chandrababu Naidu. Okay. And so at that time, if I compare with the way Bangalore grew under S.M. Krishna, and here it was Chandrababu Naidu. And from that time onwards, one thing which because I am a Bangalorean, I work today in Hyderabad, I've seen the growth of both the cities. What I see different about Hyderabad is that Bangalore grew around this, MG Road. So everything that was there, or initially, it was that, anything which is out of 10-kilometer radius of MG Road was considered out of Bangalore. I can tell you when I was in Cognizant, when we tried to take the business out of, to Manyata, I was blamed by the business leaders that, I was taking the business out of Bangalore. Today you see where is Manyata and, how much the city has grown. One good thing which happened for Hyderabad was that we, I don't know, the right thing which was done was, take the business away from the core and develop a new area. And that's what has really worked in our favor, because today, whatever we talk, the negatives about Bangalore in terms of traffic congestion, all those things, we are relatively better off. But then we are reaching there. Sooner or later, we'll also be there. I am very, very sure the way, explosive growth happens. And that's where I will go back to Vivek, the way he said that, how the city is skewed towards one side and how the growth happens. As of today, the way it is, the infrastructure, the government has planned well, the roads are much better, we have got flyovers, we have got all those things. All the wrongs that Bangalore has done, we have been able to do the right things here in Hyderabad. So that is one thing that I would say. The other thing is, the second aspect that you look at is always, safety, security. Here I would give a lot of credit to the public-private partnership model, which is a very, very unique model in Hyderabad. The Society for Cyberabad Security Council that was set up, and I have been a member of that for a very long time, maybe right from the time the inception happened. And I have seen how it has helped business during periods of turbulence. When that agitation happened, when that, Andhra, Telugu, this thing, that kind of, when the state bifurcation thing happened also, there was no impact to business. The way that has again happened is, because these things are spoken about. That, it's a very stable area where, so the political aspect of it also is a very big thing for business. So there can be a lot of disruption caused by these kind of things. And that is where, from a security and safety of people aspect is concerned, Hyderabad has done very, very well for itself. We never feel impacted. Now, if there is a Bandh, now today also when we speak, we are talking about a national Bandh and all those things. I don't see that impacting business in any way. So that has been really a phenomenal thing in Hyderabad, that whatever is happening in the rest of India, there is an assurance that business will be relatively, free from all those things. So that again has helped. The second part of your question, let me tell you, you were talking about some of the flip sides about, when this, your question was related to when this explosive growth happens. What are the things that you find as, red flags, or what happens, the negative part of it? See, what I feel is that today we are growing as, it's being even spoken about as the high-rise capital of India today. The way high-rises are coming up, I think we are giving a tough competition to Bangalore, Gurgaon, all those, Pune and all those areas together. If you really see the number of high-rises that are coming, huge. So that is where I see a little bit of a problem, because are we geared up from a safety perspective? Does our fire department have the capability to, handle those kind of problems that can happen, suppose a fire happens. So business would also be concerned about that. But then if you really see when 9/11 happened, even the best city in the world was not prepared from that angle. So there is a limit up to which, all these things can be taken care of. So that is one thing where I feel the problem is there. And the other thing is always, the traffic, roads, all those things. So until and unless the government is planning ahead, preparing the right sort of infrastructure, we are going to face a problem sooner or later. Now, another good thing in Hyderabad is that, the lake encroachments. It's a problem, universal problem. All cities, all areas you'll find, encroachment of lakes. So here, Hyderabad, by creating that draconian, some people use the word draconian, but Hydra is an organization that has come. I feel these things are required. Some checks and measures are required where, when these kind of things are happening, at least, some counterbalancing force has to be built up. There again, I think we are doing right thing. I can go on, but then
yeah, I know.
in the interest of time.
No, it's very interesting to listen, but I think a lot of people want Venkatesh to speak. I'm not putting you under pressure, but they're all eagerly waiting. See, we spoke about what drives the city, why the city is very adaptive for everybody to come in. We spoke about the infrastructure that is available, but the most critical element of all this real estate that we create is people who are occupying it. I'm not talking about the talent, but the occupiers, I mean the companies that are coming in. So, and of course, this is your bread and butter. So, Venkatesh, from an occupier perspective, what is it that makes tenants prioritize Hyderabad today? Okay, is it, of course, it used to be cost efficient. I don't know if it is still cost efficient. That's what we were discussing a little while back, or whether people still care about it. Is it the employee experiences these properties, or what is it? I mean, I don't want to put words, but yeah, why don't you take it?
Thanks, Vamshi. I think Vivek covered most towards how a developer side of Hyderabad, and Colonel covered how a client or a facility related kind of Hyderabad looking at. Just to put towards an occupier perspective, when it comes to Hyderabad, majorly, what still we continue to have as a value city. Still it continues. That mark of, the value for the money is still there within the Hyderabad, irrespective of a 3-digit growth in Hyderabad in terms of rental or, the less vacancy and all. Still Hyderabad, the major driving factor, whatever we see whenever we speak to any of the occupiers is, the kind of value for money what still it continues to provide when we compare to any other metros, let it be a Bangalore, Bombay or any other metros, that still continues. Other than that, the infrastructure, I think Vivek covered clearly that the infrastructure comes first, because we already have an infrastructure which is already in place in the city, and the government is also very proactive before creating any of the pocket. They first build in the infrastructure, and then the land auctions happens and the builders come up with IT tech parks or any other kind of developments, which is another USP which is attracting a lot of companies to come to Hyderabad other than value. And the third is the talent availability. Talent availability wise also it's very good, because we have a number of good institutions, IITs, IIMs, everything is in there in Hyderabad. And the third is cost of living. The cost of living is also very cheaper when we compare to any other metro cities. Still the rental wise, or someone want to purchase a property in Hyderabad, still it's much affordable when it compared to any other metros. These are the few driving factors where a lot of companies still looking at Hyderabad as one of the key destination to come in, and followed by, the people are very, you get all kind of language speaking people here. That is one of the unique advantage what we have. When someone coming from north of India or any part of India, it's very adaptable city is one of the USP what we have for occupiers to step in.
Wonderful. I think leading from that on the demand side, Vivek, I want to bring you in here. From your perspective, from a developer's lens or from an investor's lens, when we're talking about tenant stickiness, that's a very big challenge. And I think two pieces when we talk about, when I do valuations for a living, right? So when I do valuations, it's not about how the rent is growing, but how are the tenant profiles changing, which leads to a higher rent. I mean, obviously GCCs are coming in, they are wanting better spaces, better amenities, better rents. So what is it now from a developer's lens? Is it ESG, design, amenities, all of these digital infrastructure? Or, I mean, is there anything else from a tenant stickiness perspective? This is a very, very critical point according to me when I'm looking at a property and its value.
I think I need to be diligent in answering this because you value my properties also. So from that perspective, frankly, design or ESG or amenities and the digital, they are no more differentiators. The time when these were good to have is not there. These are actually must to have. Design is a key leasing accelerator. The unique, the design in terms of not just the look and feel, in terms of, and not just the carpet efficiency, in terms of usable efficiencies, plays a key role. How much is the penetration of the sunlight? So all these aspects really help in getting the bar that where we stand in the stacking order or the packing order of the occupiers. In terms of digital, digital is now a backbone. We call it, for example, I personally believe in a wellness-inspired smart ecosystem is going to be the way forward. In terms of, if we talk about amenities, amenities are the retention tool. These amenities were, so now commercial real estate is actually like a residential real estate, wherein if we used to go to the residential developers, it was all about ecosystem. It was never about a home, it was about the ecosystem where the home is a part of. The same concept has now transitioned into the commercial real estate. In our experience, the amenities play a very critical role, not just in terms of attracting the talent, but also in terms of the retaining the talent. So as space solution providers, we see ourselves as an extended arm of the HR of our corporate occupiers, where we provide them those amenities which are not there generally in a multi-tenanted environment, but they're in the campus-like feel. In terms of and giving a tadka of various events so as to complement that. And the compounding effect of all this helps us to get the right patron at the right time and making sure we are in their journey, because in our line of business, signing of a lease is just the starting of the relationship, especially for a new client which is entering into the family. How we carry forward in them along with them in terms of understanding their HR needs, complementing them with not just the design or by the digital, but with the tadka of amenities, events, ESG plays a very, very critical role. For us, it has helped us to achieve an average retention for us in our portfolio pan-India is now more than a decade. Even the leases are going for mark-to-market renewal, but it helps us, this software or hardware helps us to get that stickiness element.
No, I think a lot of planning is going on in terms of just giving experiences to tenants, because like you said, the new normal is ESG, the new normal is all these. So I think what else? And I think it's playing to the core because the tenants want so much and so much more. It's just about engaging
I just
people.
wanted to add a little bit to what he has told. I think he has covered the ESG part, that no longer it's a thing. It's not a matter of choice any longer. That's a basic requirement that is there. Everybody is concerned about the environment. So COVID has also played a very important role in bringing about larger realization of some aspects, about your indoor air quality that you maintain. Okay. How much are you focused on the wellness part of it? And in wellness, one thing that has happened today is that people are not only talking about health, they are talking about, mental wellness and all those things. So for that also, the kind of amenities that you build, what is the kind of an employee experience that you're giving? Are your campuses designed that way to give people that feeling, what are the elements that you're trying to build in? And now there is a lot of focus on...
I'll pause you here. I'll just pop in a small question into that because a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
Hybrid work. It's now stabilizing, right? From your, when you're answering this, can you just build in terms of what strategies? You're just saying what companies are providing.
I get that hybrid part of it. So now you see, that is where we found that in a lot of ways, COVID has really changed the way we look at our workplaces, right from a design onwards, and more importantly, from an employee experience perspective. Okay, so I talked about air quality, I talked about health and wellness. Now, the employee engagement part. And you see, the employee, the experience that you give is very, very important. That is what will really define how engaged the employee is with your own company or your own organization. And that is where larger campuses have to really align with the clients. And because there is so much that the client can do within their lease spaces, but in the larger, in the common areas, what are the kind of things that you can provide? And that is where I see that large, developers and campus owners have to really work very closely with the client, understand what they want and plan ahead for that. And these things are going to, and in the hybrid again, if you really see, now most of the companies, at least my clients, I can see that most of them are coming back. They are coming back to work. Initially it was 2 days, 3 days. Now most of them are telling, okay, 5 days, all 5 days. Some people are trying to get back forcibly, but then people have got used to that, comfort of working from home. So there again, I see that hybrid thing, it all depends on how willingly the employees are going to come back. That is where I think the developers and the infrastructure people, how can you make your workplace fun? How can you make it interesting? Now, work is something which you can do from anywhere. People are no longer coming to office to work. They want to come to office to collaborate, to meet, socialize, engage, and have fun. So bringing the fun element back to the workplaces is one area where I think a lot of ways we can distinguish our workplace by focusing on that.
I know. Now, I think on a lighter note, you have to really entice people to come to work. And a lot of people, youngsters in the room would think, I need more amenities to get back to work. Venkatesh, I'll bring you in. A little tricky question. I mean, Vivek was talking about the nature of products that we were going to develop and the various enhancements or improvements, not just in terms of asset, but in terms of engagement with the tenants. Now, and we were just speaking in the room about how 26 has a very good start. Our leasing team is busy. You guys are also busy. Everybody is extremely busy, right? So there is a lot of strength. But what is the market currently offering in Hyderabad, right? And what do the occupiers want? Is there a mismatch there? Because most of the prime location assets are taken and there is hardly any vacancy. I mean, you can throw some light on that also. Largely is the asset availability, because we talk about a lot of supply coming up, versus tenant requirements. Is there a mismatch in Hyderabad today?
See, basically today there is a lot of demand for IT tech parks in Hyderabad. Definitely, because whenever we speak to different kind of occupiers, either it might be a startup or it might be a GCC or it might be any other established MNCs, what we see is that there is definitely a high demand for IT parks to come in Hyderabad, and wherever we see IT parks, definitely that's becoming the first priority, and followed by both of them were touched towards amenities is one of the part. That became so critical even when we submit a list of options to our occupiers. First thing, earlier they used to ask us, what if does amenities provide, what kind of amenities were there and all. Today they are asking us to list it down, what all amenities are available at, what kind of facilities are available for our employees, for when we get to that kind of a tech park or any integrated commercial buildings. So that definitely becoming a key aspect for developers to bring in more tech parks. Definitely the demand is pretty high, but however at the same time, if it's more like a standalone kind of a building with full of amenities, still continue to have the demand. And what we grossly see is that for a developers, a good graded developers, coming up with a good availability, definitely there is a good demand and there is no mismatch or, anything as such. We don't see with anything from the occupier perspective as such. Only thing is that, because the growth is completely concentrated towards the western corridor, mainly HITEC City and Gachibowli. Presently, the vacancy rate which came down in HITEC City of around 2.65%. However, it's equally compensating with Gachibowli, where we have good grade A developers coming up in Gachibowli and Kokapet and other locations. And we've recently seen, some land auctions also happen in HITEC City, where, some of more developments are coming up. Other than that, I think Vivek, CapitaLand is planning to redevelop their campus. So these kind of things were happening. I really don't see a mismatch or anything on mismatch on the expectations. Only thing is that, it's just a time which need to go through so that, occupiers continue enjoying the HITEC City, whatever offers, and Gachibowli or financial district.
I think Shubhajit is already here trying to get us to wind up, but I will take 2 more minutes. There is a lot of questions, but I guess I'll just stick to one important elephant in the room: artificial intelligence and automation, right? Just 30 seconds view from each of you on, is it a game changer in a positive way or a negative way?
See, for us, it's not actually AI stands for us as artificial intelligence. I'll call it augmented intelligence. So if we go from that perspective and that thought process, it is game changer in multiple ways. It's helping us to manage our properties more efficiently, more effectively. That is from the developer side. From the occupier's partner side, we see that they are in the process of re-looking at their strategies, but it is not the way that it is going to be rationalizing the space, because that's what our bread and butter is. And I'm not saying this because that's our bread and butter is. We see they are also making their operations more effective, more efficient. And that means for all those developments which they need to do AI, end of that they need the engineers to do that. So for us, it means that it is going to be another shooter in terms of getting a different kind of space. The space, nature of the space will change, the peripherals will change, but demand is going to be there. That's what our estimation is.
See, as far as whatever I see as artificial intelligence is more to do with the kind of integration which is going to come up between occupier and the developer. That's one area where we think, a lot of work, scope of work to be done from artificial intelligence side, where, more robust systems where, someone sitting miles away should understand, what actually happening as an occupier. If I lease a square foot, 1 million square foot in one of the locations in Hyderabad, someone sitting miles away should, really monitor a real time. What's happening in the building, what's happening in the campus. These kind of areas where a lot of artificial intelligence or any other technology, plays a critical role, and a lot of work to be done towards those kind of aspects as well.
Okay. I think I know while what you're saying sounds plausible, but there seems to be this whole narrative around job losses. I'll just bring in, sorry, we are out of time. So
okay, I'll cover that. From a people perspective, let me talk about the industry that we are in right now. From a real estate, and there are 2 types of workers that are going to be very critical in the future. One side is a knowledge worker, the other side is a skill worker. Okay. And for us, both are equally important. From a knowledge side, I would say that the AI penetration would result in job losses in some categories, at least the lower end and all those things, while some category of workers would continue to survive, at least during the interim period. But skill side is where I would say that even today or in the immediate future, I would say that people are really going to be important, because as they say, AI may be able to remove a lot of jobs, but the job of the plumber is going to be the guy who will still be there when all others have lost their jobs. So let me stop at that.
No, I guess the roles will transform, but there are new roles that get created because of AI. And I think coming back to Hyderabad, I think you've heard the panelists, and it's a strong market, stands on its own feet, second to none, and is in good shape for the future to come. I think we're in a good space. Thank you so much for patiently listening to us. I don't think we have time for questions. He'll throw me off the stage. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Unfortunately not, but ladies and gentlemen, very, very fortunately, you all can clap for their wonderful session. I'm sure the ITs and corporate hubs are in safe hands. I'll request all of you to remain on stage. I'm going to be requesting Ms. Shruti Nargolkar, Head of Partnerships at Flip Spaces, to please kindly come up on stage and give the token of appreciation to our esteemed speakers over here. We'll do a nice group photograph with all of you, and over photographs are being taken. You all know the drill, what you need to do on a countdown of 1, 2, and 3. Everybody, please clap it up for them. Thank you. Bahut shukriya. Very, very encouraging on your part. We look forward to hearing all of you the next year in the 4th edition when we do this.